Batam, the largest city in the Riau Islands and Indonesia's gateway to Singapore. It's part of the Indonesia-Singapore-Malaysia Free Trade Zone. The city of Batam is composed of its main islands, Batam Island, Rempang Island, and Galang Island, connected by the Barelang Bridge, and other several small islands like Bulang, with a population of total 1,365,266 people, known for being the largest shipyard production in Indonesia, proximity to Singapore, and lack of walkable areas. But how does Batam came to be? Well, there are many versions of where Batam got its name. One version that Batam got its name as an acronym from Batu Ampa, which refers to a legend called Badang dan Putri Tumasik. Another version that Batam comes from the word Batang, which according to legend, there was a particular type of tree that grew abundantly in the coastal areas of Batam, covering nearly all regions facing the South China Sea. The tree was sought after by sailors who traveled to Batam for its wood. The island of Batam was frequently mentioned in foreign travel records and historical documents, particularly in the Treaty of London in 1824 and documents from the Rio Lingga Kingdom. Now let's go to the history of Batam. We go back to the year 231 AD, where first inhabitants of the island were a group of Malay people known as the Sea Peoples. No, not those Sea Peoples, these Sea Peoples, specifically the Orang Laut, who live on the coasts. Inland tribes such as the Sakai tribe and the Jakun tribe also lived there. The Riau Islands, including Batam, were once territories of various Malay kingdoms, such as the Kingdom of Singapore, the Kingdom of Malacca, the Malay Kingdom, and the Kingdom of Riau Lingga. This area is historically significant for its resistance efforts led by the legendary Admiral Hang Nadim in the 1500s, who fought against Portuguese invaders after the fall of Malacca. He is renowned for defending the Bintan Regency from Portuguese attacks and was given the title of Raja Laut, the Sea King, to protect the Malay waters from foreign powers, particularly the Portuguese. Batam and its surrounding islands were part of these territories. In honor of his legacy, Batam's airport was named after him. Many Malays in Batam migrated from the Malay Peninsula and Jambi. During the 17th century, wars broke out between Johor and Jambi, lasting from 1666 to 1681. Many soldiers likely camped in the Malay archipelago, including Batam. Okay, so disclaimer, this part will be pretty historically dubious. I only got it based on the sources I find, so take this section as a grain of salt. Okay, sorry. By the 17th century, there are settlements on the Bukit Layang coast inhabited by the Sakai people, who survived by collecting timber, resin, and rattan. In 1790, the indigenous Alma people married Malays and established a village that would later be known as Kampong Setengah. Another settlement known as Batam was created 23 years later in 1813, inhabited by Malays from Pahang. By 1817, Chinese settlers were recorded in the Seipanas area, alongside others residing in Duriangkang, Mukakuning, Tanjung Guncang, Waheng, and surrounding areas. By 1820, the Telulonggong area was inhabited by Malays led by a man named Wak Gendut. During the days of the Riau Lingga Kingdom, there was a significant migration of Malays to Batam, leading to the establishment of villages that later become known as Nongsa, Tanjung Uma, Tanjung Pantun, Tanjung Riau, Tanjung Sengkuang, Telaga Punggur, Tanjung Bemban, Kampung Belian, Kampung Bagan, Labuan Garap, and others. Many settlers were often relatives of the royal family, living by fishing and cultivating gambier and black pepper. Additionally, many Chinese migrants came to work on gambier and black pepper plantations, as well to engage in trade and maritime businesses. In the early 19th century, rivalry intensified between the British and the Dutch over control of trade in the Strait of Malacca. This competition was particularly influenced by Sir Stamford Raffles, who founded Singapore in 1819. Singapore quickly developed into a major trading hub for merchants in the Malay world. The rapid growth of Singapore alarmed the Dutch, who controlled the nearby Riau Lingga Sultanate and sought to maintain dominance over the Malay trade routes. Many Malay and Chinese traders used Batam, located just across the strait from Singapore, as a safe harbor and hiding place to evade Dutch patrols and trade restrictions. The island's strategic position made it a valuable maritime base for regional trade. After the Anglo-Dutch Treaty of 1824, the British and Dutch formally divided the Malay world into their spheres of influence. The British took control of what is now Singapore and Malaysia, while the Dutch gained dominance over the Rio Lingga archipelago, including Batam. On December 18, 1829, P.J. Elout, the Commissioner General of the Dutch East Indies, also served as the resident of Riau on behalf of Sultan Abdul Rahman Siah yang Dipertuan Muda of Riau. On this date, he appointed King Isa to govern the Nongsa region and its conquered territories. As a result, December 18, 1829 was designated as the anniversary of the city of Batam through Batam City Regional Regulation Number 5 of 2009. Throughout the 19th century, the Sultan's autonomy was steadily reduced under Dutch colonial governance. Batam became part of the Riau Residency within the Greater Dutch East Indies. In 1868, the Dutch officially placed European officials in the region. Batam included as part of the Residence Riau and dependencies. The island of Batam entered a local administrative structure under the Dutch, becoming, sorry about that, Onrafdeling subdivision, Platseljik Bestor local government, under a controller under an afdeling department, centered at Tanjung Pinang, and by 1882, infrastructure was built in Batam under colonial rule, with roads from Sungai Lekop to Batu Haji, Tiban, etc. Pepper plantations were cultivated on a large scale in the region, including Batam. Most of the pepper was exported to Singapore, with small amounts sent to Java. However, as gold pepper and Gambia market declined in late 19th and early 20th centuries, pepper production in the Rio Islands also declined. Eventually, the pepper and Gambia plantations were converted to rubber plantations. In 1905, the Dutch forced Sultan Abdul Rahman II Muazzam Shah to sign a treaty that would limit his power. The Sultan refused, and so in 1911 the Dutch sent naval vessels and troops to Penyengat, deposed the Sultan, and dissolved the Riau Lingga Sultanate, and incorporated the region into the Dutch East Indies administration through the Residency of Riau and dependencies, Batam included. Under Dutch administration, Batam was a peripheral island with minimal investment, low population density, and extensive forests. However, places like Pulau Bulu show evidence of older administrative ports, schooling, and active Chinese trade networks, including a well built in 1911, indicating local settlement and economic activity. In 1942, during World War II, the Rio Islands, including Batam, were occupied by the Japanese Empire for strategic control of sea lanes. The local economy was restructured to support war, leading to forced labor, food shortages, and tight control over civilian life under military administration. After Indonesian independence in 1945, Batam became part of the administrative reforms of Indonesia. In the 1960s, Batam was appointed as the logistics base for petroleum sourced from Sambu. Yeah, at this point, Batam was little more than a background character in events unfolding across the Wire Rio Islands. It's a sparsely populated island, comprised of a few scattered fishing communities and villages, with a small-scale rural economy based on fishing and some farming, and a collection of forest products such as timber and rattan. By 1970, the island had a population of only 6,000 people. So yeah, not the most interesting spot around. But things are about to change, and it begins in the 1970s. In the 1970s, Batam began to develop as a logistic and operational base for the oil and gas industry, spearheaded by Pertamina. The initial plans aimed to make Batam comparable to Singapore, in line with Presidential Decree Number 41 of 1973, which designated the island as an industrial work area. This initiative was supported by the Batam Island Industrial Development Authority known as the Batam Business Agency, BP Batam, which became the driving force behind Batam's development. B.J. Habibie, yes, that Habibie, was appointed by the President of Indonesia at the time, Suharto, to lead the development of Batam under the Batam Development Authority to develop it into an industrial area, with him becoming the third chairman of the Batam Authority. Yes, third. The first one is Ibnu Sutowo, 1971 to 1976, and the second one is J.B. Somarlin, 1976 to 1978. Under his leadership, Batam experienced rapid development, evolving from a simple terminal logistics base into a national project that significantly contributes to national interests. He successfully transformed Batam into an industrial hub, a center for trade, ship transfers, and tourism. To develop Batam, he focused on infrastructure development and conducted promotions and international cooperation aimed at attracting investors to the area. He also initiated the establishment of the Batam City Administrative Municipality Government to provide better services to the growing population. Ultimately, he was quite successful in positioning Batam as a competitive industrial zone. While developing Batam, B.J. Habibie was inspired by the Benelux model, Netherlands, Luxembourg, and of course, Belgium, whose colonial history. Yeah, let's not go there. He proposed the SGORI concept, Singapore, Johor, Riau, and introduced the balloon theory, describing that how Batam, Rempang, and Galang, Bloom 1, 2, and 3, could fully grow in an integrated economy. From this came the Barelang idea, and the six iconic Barelang bridges connected a new 715-kilometer region, 13% larger than Singapore, with hopes that Batam could one day rival its neighbor. As chairman of the Batam Authority, Habibie created BKPM and issued special land management regulations under the Presidential Decree No. 41 of 1973, allowing coordinated development. During his 20 years in charge, Batam grew into a major industrial center. Batam Indo and Mukakuning became home to major companies like Sumitomo, Philips, Western Digital, Sony, and Toshiba. More industrial estates soon followed. Habibie eventually left the position after becoming Indonesia's seventh vice president, and later the third president, being replaced by his brother, J.E. Habibie. Batam's rapid growth led to its designation as Batam Municipality in Government Regulation No. 34 of 1983, granting local administrative authority and supporting further development. Despite the devastating 1998 Asian financial crisis, Batam still recorded 3.8% growth in 1998 and 7.18% in 2008. After the reform era, Law No. 53 of 1999 turned the city into an autonomous region, further strengthening the cooperation between the Batam city government and BP Batam. But rapid growth also created problems. Between 1971 and 1998, Batam faced illegal settlements, slums, rapid in-migration, crime, and in 1987, a violent mugging of a Singaporean tourist led to mass security raids. Over 300 suspected criminals were arrested and sent to Galang. By 1994, slums have grown to 12,000 houses in 59 areas, threatening water supplies and the environment. And a conflict also struck Indonesia in the late 1990s, and Batam wasn't spared. Around mid-1999, violent clashes between Bata and Flores communities resulted in multiple deaths. Reports vary from 10 to 18 killed, with troops deployed and shoot-on-sight orders issued. The details differ across sources, but the point is clear. It was a tense and violent period. Still, Batam kept expanding. From just 6,000 people in the early 1970s, its population reached 455,103 by 2000, and its industrial firms grew from only 10 to 564 by the same year. The government formalized Batam Free Trade Zone status through Law No. 44 of 2007, boosting investment, exports, and job creation. Infrastructure expanded rapidly. Ports, roads, and Hang Nadem Airport were upgraded, and Harbour Bay Ferry Terminal opened in 2006, serving 45,000 Singaporean visitors a month and even hosting international events like the Asian Jazz Festival. Throughout the 2010s, Batam's urban landscape changed quickly, with major real estate and mixed-use projects like Meisterstadt and its shift toward high-value manufacturing and smart factory development. Cultural events such as Visit Batam 2010 and the 2019 Batam International Culture Festival helped promote the city's growing identity. By 2020, Batam's population surpassed 1.19 million, and by 2025, it has reached over 1.85 million, making it the largest city in the Rio Islands and a major economic engine. Yes, challenges remain: housing shortages, infrastructure strain, environmental pressures, skilled labor gaps, and persistent issues like human trafficking. But even with its problems, Batam stands as one of Indonesia's most remarkable development success stories. And maybe that's already enough.